buzz I can talk about the Knicks weeks after their season ended and have it resonate. It's great that I can discuss the Knicks in a relevant manner. And it's been a very long time since we've been able to do that. Maybe this is the first time in my working life where this is possible. Because I remember 2012 when they last won a title, or when they last, not a title, when they last were a relevant team, when they last won a playoff series. And I remember after the fact that really the talk was kind of almost a post-mortem. It was more of a look in the rearview mirror. I hope you saw the beautiful rainbow because we're not going to see it again because we're driving into storm clouds. It was that type of vibe because if you remember, that team was very old. It had a last legs Jason Kidd, a last legs Marcus Camby, a last legs Kurt Thomas, a last legs Rasheed Wallace, not necessarily all at the same time, but throughout the course of that year or so. And as it turns out, it wasn't by chronological, but by the knees giving out, a last legs, almost literally, Amari Stoudemire. It turned out to be one of Melo's last prime seasons. Uh, I think a lot of that had to do with the New York media not treating him fairly, but that's a different story. The bottom line was it felt like that team reached the zenith of what it was capable of, and everyone at the time understood that and knew that going forward was going to be choppy waters, to say the least. And honestly, there was no real discussion about how do we build from here? Where do we go from here? Who do we trade to go from second round to winning a title? None of that discussion happened. Um, and the truth of the matter is, it was because there was nowhere to go with that roster but down because of its age. And so now, fast forward 11 years, they reached the same point in the playoffs, had the same fate, losing in the second round, but the vibe feels very different, right? And depending who you talk to, it's one of two vibes. It's one of almost bitterness that they lost to Miami and they want to fire the coach, trade Randall, do this, do that. Like the angry New York fan, like they underachieved. And then there's the New York fan where I'm more in this camp. Hey, we just had a really successful year going into this season. This is the most we could have expected, probably more than we could have expected. We lost to a better team. How do we improve going forward? And that's the conversation I'm interested in having today is how do you improve this team going forward? And the fact that this conversation can and is being had tells me all I need to know about the temperature of the room as it relates to New York Knicks basketball. Um right now, for the first time in my life as an adult, we are in the early parts of the off season. And it's more than just can the Knicks sign that guy? Like, oh, they got to go get this guy, or they should go get that guy. You still got some of that, a lot of it actually, but it's underpinned by the knowledge that we're adding that guy, whoever X is, or X is, if we're plural, if there could be more than one addition. We're adding that to an existing foundation of solidness, which we've never seen before in the last 25, 30 years. When was the last time the Knicks went into the offseason not needing to hit a home run to bring the team to relevancy, not needing to find the man in the Superman cape to save the franchise, not needing to replenish their whole roster because everyone was too old? When was the last time the Knicks have headed into the offseason with on the back of their sails being a successful season in the immediate rear view with a solid roster that's not overly old, that has some cap flexibility, that has some draft capital, that has tradable assets that they could use if they wanted to get an established player. When was the last time all of this was part of the New York Knicks formula going into an offseason? Never in my lifetime. I'm going to be 38 years old on Friday. I never remember this. I've been following the NBA one way or the other since 1991 when I was 7 years old. It's how I became a Laker fan. I remember rooting for Magic Johnson and the Lakers in the 91 finals against Jordan because I liked the color of their jerseys. Now, I was 7. Turns out I picked a good team to root for. I didn't know that at the time, of course, but few years later, I was like, whoa, look at this. Liking the color gold and purple worked out really good for me. This team always wins. And then here comes Shaq and Kobe and Phil Jackson and, and on and on. Great. That was a good stroke of luck. But that said, there's few people you're likely to come across that follow the NBA closer than I do. And I've never been a quote unquote Knick fan, but I'm basically a Knick fan. The Knicks are easily my second favorite team because of what the Knicks being good produces for my show and just for my enjoyment of being able to talk basketball with John Q. Public when I'm out and about on the town. A lot of Knicks fans are very territorial. They're very much, if it's not the Knicks, I don't care, which I don't really identify with that type of fandom, but that's a big part of the base. So fine. When the Knicks are good, it's good for me. So I root for them to be good. But they've been so awful for so long. We don't have to go through all that. We're not going to. But this is the first time in my life I can go into an offseason thinking, okay, we make a key addition here, a key upgrade there, maybe a change of style here. All of a sudden, it's not crazy to think they could be contending for the Eastern Conference crown next year. It's not crazy. It's not. And it's amazing. But, and here's the but. We have to hope that Leon Rose doesn't listen to a lot of the people out there. The whole idea of give the fans what they want, give the people what they want, doesn't work in the social media era. Doesn't work when it comes to placating New York fans. Because I can't tell you the crazy stuff I've read over the last couple of weeks, couple of days even. I've read, everyone wants to trade Julius Randle. We know that. Everyone wants to fire Tom Thibodeau. We want to get Kristaps Porzingis back. We've heard about LeBron. We've heard about Giannis. We've heard about Bradley Beal. We've heard Damian Lillard's name. I think you guys are thinking too big. You're not that far away. The Knicks need one more difference maker. They need a couple more shooters. And they might need one more solid backup point guard. Because I don't know about Quickly, and Rose, is just out of the loop. We know that. So let's start tweaking instead of purging. Let's start iterating instead of rebuilding. And the talks, do you realize what it would take to get Giannis Antetokounmpo? Even if he said, I want to leave Milwaukee and I'm only going to New York, trade me now. Even if he said something that blunt, do you realize what it would take to get him? And where it would leave your franchise? I don't have the numbers in front of me, but, Randall for sure, Toppin for sure, probably Quickly, and probably 3 first-round picks. That's for sure. At least that type of package. And so now what do you have? You have Jalen Brunson, you have Giannis, and you have Barrett. And that's assuming you don't have to move Barrett in that trade. They might insist on Barrett. It might be Barrett, Randall to make money work Quickly and draft picks. And then what? You got Giannis, you got Brunson. Maybe you still have Mitchell Robinson. Do you want him in a lineup that contains Giannis, another guy who's not really a great outside shooter, clogging up the lane? Why do you think Brook Lopez works in Milwaukee so well? He can shoot. What do you want? Is that team better? Is that team more likely to contend for a title? It's got better star power. It's got the best individual player one of the two best players, I think, right now on the planet, along with Jokic. But is it a better team? And more importantly, is it still in position to add to itself as it needs to compete? The NBA is going to close a lot of these mid-level exception and veteran minimum loopholes with this new CBA that was recently voted on. So that's something to keep an eye on too. I'm not so sure that's the move for the Knicks. I would be much more, even though we've seen this movie before, it would be cast in a different setting this time to complete the analogy. I would be much more comfortable bringing back Kristaps Porzingis as a third option or fourth option, even depending how Barrett continues to develop, to Barrett, Randall, and Brunson. Bring him back, play him as that stretch 4 or stretch 5, play him alongside Randall. You have a starting lineup of Porzingis, Randall, Robinson, Barrett, and Brunson. Or maybe you bring Porzingis in as a sixth man if you want some a little more mobility, and you put him as a sixth man, and you go with Brunson, Grimes, Barrett, Randall, and Robinson, with Porzingis as your sixth man. Add some firepower to the back of the bench. Do that. You're much closer. That solves a few problems for the Knicks. It solves a shooting problem. It solves another scoring problem. It solves shot blocking besides Robinson problem. Robinson, of course, has his injury histories too. It solves a lot of things. And it's going to cost you next to nothing. What's Kristaps Porzingis going to cost you? It's going to cost you what? Maybe one first round pick, and maybe it's quickly. Maybe it costs you you have to throw in Fournier to make money work. You're not going to keep him anyway. I mean, it's not going to cost you a lot to get Kristaps Porzingis. And if I just put this in the trade machine, let's go ahead and do that right now. If I'm going to go ahead and try to get Kristaps Porzingis, I'm going to go, if I'm the Knicks, my starting point is going to be Quickly and Fournier and a draft pick. So you get Kristaps Porzingis. Right now, he's a free agent. So you actually wouldn't even have to trade for him if you have the money to sign, or you do a sign and trade. The point is, these guys are more gettable and more attainable without destroying your roster. You're going to destroy your roster if you go after Giannis. You say, well, what about LeBron? That's an interesting story. There's two elements to the LeBron to the Knicks storyline. The first element is this. If I'm the Knicks, I want him. He's going to make my team better. And I probably, because of his age, I probably don't have to give up a lot. I could probably get LeBron James for Fournier, Quickly, maybe Randall, and a draft pick. That's a decent amount. But I don't know what Quickly's future is. Fournier doesn't have a future. He's just dead money. And there's at least some thought that they want to move Randall. Now, is that an attractive offer to the Lakers? Probably not. I don't think LeBron's going anywhere. He's either retiring or he's going to be back with the Lakers next year. But the second piece to LeBron is the New York fan base doesn't like him. There's a lot of people who are adamant, I don't want that guy. He's a loser. Oh, really? LeBron's won more with the Lakers in these 4 years between the title in 2020 and the Western Conference Finals appearance this year. He's done more since the pandemic than the Knicks as a franchise have done since, I think, Lyndon Johnson was the president, or Richard Nixon. Think about that. It's been more than half a century. And even if you include the 90s, okay, they went to 2 finals in the decade, but they didn't win one. So is 2 finals without a win better or is one finals and a conference finals with a championship in there better? So you can make the case that LeBron James, with just the Lakers, forget his whole career, just with the Lakers, which is his least productive stop, right? He has done more, won more in 3.5 years than the Knicks as a franchise have in 30. And if you want to just boil it down to just winning a title, then they've done in almost 60, 50 and a lot of change. It's, well, okay, 50. Not 60, 50. Did my math wrong there. 50 years. Like, who's the loser? That's a whole different story. But the bottom line is this: the Knicks fans should feel really good about their team, and they should be comfortable moving forward with a new and augmented roster, not with a remade roster. Add to what you already have. Don't subtract from it. Don't change it that much. Just add to it a little bit. Tinker, iterate, improve. Don't rebuild. All right, there you go. That's the opening rant. Time to go to a break. We'll come back. We got the question of the day next. It's the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.
Coffee Lovers Middletown is now officially home to the home run of our favorite beverage, Days Coffee. Days' patented blend contains approximately 85% less caffeine than other coffees, which makes it better for you, yet unlike decaf coffee, still gives you that great pickup and tastes amazing. Formulated by a retired cancer pathologist, Dr. Grant Lee, Days Coffee is fermented with a patented enzyme that until now required a complex and thus expensive sourcing and production process. With Dr. Lee's formulation, this enzyme's great health benefits can now be brought to your cup quicker, easier, and cheaper than ever before. Here's how you get a hold of this game-changing cup of joe. Go over to RadioOnlyDeals.com and get a $4 gift certificate to Days Coffee for just $2. That's RadioOnlyDeals.com to buy your single-use digital gift certificate for Days Coffee. RadioOnlyDeals.com. That's RadioOnlyDeals.com. Enjoy the preferred coffee of the Gary Ayd Show. Enjoy Days Coffee.
All righty, we're back here on the Gary Ayd Show, and we are joined now by one of our OC Smash Players of the Week, Dylan Terso. Hello, Dylan. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. How you doing, man?
Good.
Awesome. Well, congratulations and thanks for joining us. So real quick, first things first. When did you first started playing baseball?
Probably when I was like 3 or 4.
3 or 4. Okay. And how old are you now?
9.
9. Okay. Very cool. And what positions do you play?
I can pitch, and my primary position is first base.
First base. All right. I love first base. Did you do you spend a lot of time working on your defense?
I try and level it out with batting and defense, but I probably do defense a little more.
A little bit more, yes. Okay. And do you pitch left-handed or right-handed?
Right-handed.
You bat righty too?
Yes.
All right, cool. What's your favorite part about baseball? What's your favorite part of the game?
I like batting a lot. I also like base running. That's really fun.
Yeah, running bases is awesome. Do you try to make a lot of steals?
It depends.
Yeah.
Sometimes I watch the catches wrong and then I see.
Awesome, good stuff. What's your favorite position of all of them? Do you like pitching? Do you like first base? Like, what do you like playing the most?
First base.
Yeah, you get a lot of action over there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what's your favorite part about being on the Smash?
The coaches are really good.
Okay. Who's your coach?
Coach Iovini, we have
Mhm.
Coach Seabury, we have Coach McKeon, we have Coach Walsh. We have
Who
a lot of coaches.
who do you work with the most, do you think?
Um, Either Coach Seabury or Coach Iovini.
Awesome. Very, very cool. What's your who's your favorite major league player?
Aaron Judge. My number is 99.
Ah, just like Aaron Judge. Good stuff. What's your favorite part about Aaron Judge? All the home runs or something else?
Yeah, I have a poster of his home runs.
That's really cool. Have you been to a Yankee game before?
Yeah, I went on my birthday last year. They got demolished like 12 the two Guardians.
Well, my Mets just swept the Guardians, so there you go.
Good.
I'm a Met fan. Yeah, I thought you'd like that, right? That's awesome. What's your favorite place you've been to with the Smash?
Probably we had a tournament in New Jersey once. That one was really fun.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to Ripken soon.
When are you going to Ripken?
Yeah.
When are you going?
Oh,
June 8th? June 8th?
Yeah, that's when we leave.
all right.
June 8th is when we leave for that.
Oh, that's really cool. Have you been there before or no?
No, this will be my first time.
Oh, awesome. Have you been to Cooperstown or no?
No, I'm pretty sure that's when I get to like 12.
Yeah,
I think.
older. Yeah. Have you been to the Hall of Fame or Cooperstown just like with your family?
No.
That's a fun place when you get to go there. It's really cool. Hey, I just wanted to ask your mom a couple of things real quick.
Sure.
Hey, Andrea, how you doing?
Hi.
I know
Good, great.
I know you were right there. So first of all, I just wanted to ask you, do you have other older children in travel ball as well, or is Dylan your first?
No, Dylan is my first. I have an older daughter, but she does theater and karate. So
Okay.
Dylan is our first travel experience.
How's that been from your perspective?
It's been great. The Smash is a great organization. From down to the 5-6U all the way up to the older boys. And our team has a great group of families and coaches, and it's been a really nice experience for us as a family and for Dylan too as a player.
That's awesome. And how many years is he with the Smash now?
This is his second season.
Awesome. Very cool. What's been the biggest difference that you've noticed since he's been associated with the Smash, either like as just maturity level or just on the field?
Yeah, the skill work that they do in Smash is a step above like your local rec ball, which is nice. And just last night at practice they were doing a bunch of situation plays for defense and just really learning their baseball IQ and teaching them how the play changes with every batter and with every guy on base. Just the specifics of baseball has been great for him. His baseball IQ has grown immensely.
That's awesome. Now, do you guys have a family history of baseball or softball? Like, are you guys like a sports family, or did he just take to this sort of organically? What was the origin of his interest in baseball?
He really, we're big Yankee fans. We've been watching games since he was tiny. And I think he just clung on to that and just started hitting balls out back with my husband. And, neither of us, I played softball a little bit, but I didn't have the dedication that he has. So I didn't last very long. So other than local Little League when we were kids, his father and I weren't really as dedicated and as into it as he is, especially at a young age.
Yeah, that's really cool. I guess my last question for you is, if you were going to give some advice to a family who would be looking to maybe put a child into a travel program like the Smash for the first time, what advice would you give them?
I would say make sure you're ready for the commitment, for sure, and that just keep an open mind. And it's really fun. Dylan is whispering to me.
Good. Do it for the kids. Right. That's awesome. That's tremendous. Well, thank you, Andrew. I'm going to ask Dylan one or two more things before we wrap up here.
Okay, great.
Alrighty. Hey, Dylan. So,
Yeah.
what's been your favorite baseball memory, play, game, moment? Like, what's been the most fun or biggest memory you've had from playing?
In summer last year, we won the championship game. That was really fun.
That's awesome. Were you pitching or playing first base when you guys won that game?
I'm not sure. I think I was either on first or another person was on first. I'm not sure.
Okay, cool. What do you remember most about it? Just like being happy after the game was over, or like a
Yeah,
yeah.
it was really fun. We got medals. We got a shirt. And then we dogpiled on the pitcher's mound.
Poor pitcher. Alrighty. Well, hey, enjoy the rest of your season. Okay. Thank you for joining us today.
Okay.
Thank
Alrighty.
you.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Dylan. Good job, guys. Alrighty, that is Dylan Terso, one of our OC Smash players of the week. This is the Gary Ayd Show. Back after this here on The Cave.
Are you like me? You have health insurance, but you don't have dental insurance. Do you need to get to the dentist right away? Maybe you need an implant or some other major service. Well, I found a dental insurance plan that's just right for you. It's called Spirit Dental. Spirit Dental offers a $100 lifetime deductible, a huge network of dentists. And here's the best part. There's no waiting periods. Yeah, that means you can call right now and have real dental insurance for you and your family tomorrow and get that immediate coverage you want. Spirit Dental has plans for just a few dollars a day, up to $5,000 annual maximum, and
Hey, what's
coverage for
going on? It's
implants.
Gary.
Whatever age you are, the dental insurance
Good,
you
how you
need is
doing?
a free phone call away. Now
Alrighty,
don't
so we
wait,
got
and be
about a
sure to
minute
ask about
left.
Spirit's vision plan.
Madison,
Here's the
ready?
number: 800-631-9229.
All right. Hello, Madison.
800-631-9229.
Got about a
That's
minute.
800-631-9229.
Hey friend, life happens
I
and you
was
need
trying
money.
to get Layla
What do you do?
on.
You
I
call the
wasn't able
special
to,
toll-free number
schedule
we're
a
about to
time
give you.
with
We
her
will
today.
send
Hold
you a
on a
link to
second.
your phone with details on how you can loan up to $5,000. Couldn't you use $5,000 to pay for your rent,
Layla,
pay
we were
grocery
trying to
bills,
get her
get your
on.
car
That's
repaired,
Nick
or
Cologne's
whatever
daughter,
you
right?
need? It's up to you.
Yeah, we were trying to
don't
get her
care.
on. I wasn't
We're
able
just here
to.
to lend you the money.
Didn't have the
And we'll
time
lend
today.
people
We'll try
money
to
with good,
get 'em on
bad,
tomorrow.
or no credit at all. Of course, some terms and conditions
Yeah,
apply,
no,
and
I
you'll
tried,
see those
but
on the link
that,
we're going to
unfortunately,
send
it didn't
you.
work out.
So
We
if
just
you need
finished
up to
talking with one of the,
$5,000 maybe as
Smash
soon
players,
as the next business
Dylan,
day,
so
call this number
cover
right
them
now.
too.
We will
Baseball.
text you a free link with details.
Paid
Alrighty,
for by
well,
Money Mutual.
we'll be on in
Call
like 20 seconds. So.
800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. That's 800-586-7112.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Gary Ayd Show, and we are joined now by Madison Williams, one of our OC Bomber players of the week. Hello, Madison. How are you?
Good.
Awesome. Good to have you on board. What's how long have you been playing softball for?
3 years.
3 years. Okay, cool. And what positions do you play?
I pitch and I mostly play pitcher and second base.
Pitcher and second base. Okay. Do you throw lefty or righty?
Righty?
Awesome. Do you bat righty as well?
Yes.
Cool. What's your what do you find you spend the most time practicing? Is it your pitching, your fielding, your hitting? Like, where do you spend the most time practicing?
Probably my pitching.
Okay. What's your go-to pitch when you have someone down 2 strikes?
Change up.
There you go. Awesome. What's I guess with pitching, what's your favorite part about it? Is it the thinking about how to get the batter out? Is it just the fact that you have the ball every play? Like, what makes pitching so fun to you?
I like how I get to control like the pace of the game and I don't have to be rushed.
That's cool. When did you first start pitching? Like right from the beginning, or did you pick it up recently?
Pretty recently.
What happened? Was it just like a game was it a blowout or something and they just had you try it, or was it something you were practicing? Like, how'd you come to start pitching?
I just started like practicing it.
Do you remember the first game you got to actually go in and pitch in a real game?
Yeah, it was one of my Little League games
Awesome. Was that like this year, last year?
last year.
Last year. Were you nervous?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember how the game went? Like how you did?
I think we won. We did pretty good.
Okay. How'd you pitch? Did you pitch okay?
I think I pitched pretty well. It wasn't probably my best.
Okay, that's fine. It was your first time. It's never your best when it's your first shot. Good stuff. What about when you're not pitching? What's your favorite part of the game? Do you like hitting or do you like fielding a position?
I like hitting.
Yeah, yeah. Do you spend a lot of time practicing and working on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's very cool. Where have you played in terms of has there been like a favorite field or a favorite place you've traveled to play?
Um, we play at Frozen Ropes a lot, but
In Chester, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a nice field. Do you like playing on turf or do you prefer grass? Because it
I like
Mhm.
um I like playing on dirt fields or yeah, because I feel like it's better to field and slide and
Yeah, it's much better to get the uniform dirty so you can do some really good laundry later on. I'm sure mom loves that. I know all about getting uniforms dirty. Let me tell you, that's all I ever could do when I played baseball. I wasn't any good at it, but I was good at getting dirty. So I remember that. Um, what's been what's been the thing you've worked the hardest to improve at as a softball player? Like where have you spent your majority of your practice time?
probably pitching and hitting.
Mhm. Which one came more easily to you? Which one was more natural for you?
Hitting.
Hitting. Yeah. What's your approach when you're hitting? Are you just trying to put the bat on the ball? Are you trying to hit in a certain direction, work a count? Like what's your batting approach?
I try to just make contact with the ball.
Just see the ball and hit the ball. Do you like guess or do you try to like read the ball out of the pitcher's hand?
I try and read the ball
Yeah.
out of the pitcher's hand and time it.
Good stuff. What's your favorite softball memory? Like in terms of a game or a play or a moment that you remember?
Probably my first time pitching.
Last year, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Um, do you have a favorite player?
Yeah,
Who is it?
Jenny Finch.
Jenny Finch, yes, the famous pitcher. Yes, very, very good. What are you most looking forward to this season? Is there a tournament or a place you're looking forward to this year?
Uh, Probably one of our travel tournaments.
Okay. Any particular one?
Uh, it's in New Jersey.
Cool. When is that?
At,
When is that? Do you know?
it's in July, and we're gonna stay overnight.
Awesome. Very, very cool. Yeah, Jersey's got a lot of nice ball fields. Hey, last thing I wanted to ask you, what what's your favorite part about being with the Bombers? Like what makes the Bombers really fun for you?
I like having my teammates by my side and getting to play with them and when I'm pitching, having them knowing that they're gonna try and make the plays, and when I'm hitting, them cheering me on.
Oh, that's awesome. And have you made a lot of friends playing with the Bombers? Have you made any friends with them?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, enjoy the rest of your season, okay? Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Alrighty, have a good one. That is Madison Williams. This is the Gary Ayd Show. Back after this here on The Cave.
Do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call. Because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at crazy low prices. They have access to great prices and discounts at over 500 different airlines. Plus 300,000 hotels and rental car companies. Their prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find the best price for you. Call SmartFares today and get ready to see the world with a fat wallet.
800-370-2460. 800-370-2460. 800-370-2460. That's 800-370-2460.
Come on, you watch the news. Be prepared to pay more taxes. Then, if you owe back taxes or haven't filed in a few years, get ready. The IRS, the largest collection agency in the world, will be coming after you with the power to collect taxes by any means they want to. Hey, they can freeze your bank account, your passport, even padlock your business. Oh, good times. Look, if the IRS claims you owe them $5,000 or more in back taxes and they're coming after you, don't panic. Call my friends at Get a Tax Lawyer first. Their job is to negotiate with the IRS and save you money. They're experts at it. That's all they do, and you can trust them. In some cases, they have reduced a $50,000 tax bill to less than $1,000. If you owe the IRS $5,000 or more in back taxes, call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-649-8617. 800-649-8617. 800-649-8617. That's 800-649-8617.
All righty, welcome into the Gary Ayd Show, and that was good stuff with our two players today. Madison there with the Bombers, and back before that, Dylan Terso with the Smash. Really, really good stuff. By the way, I went over today over the Beacon, where I don't often spend a whole lot of time, but I really should. There's a lot of good stuff in Beacon, very walkable downtown. I'm over there usually at least once a year for the craft beer festival. And a couple of years ago, me and Anselmo, my co-host, who will be joining me in a little while, we filmed a draft show there for a minor league basketball league. Anyway, so I was over there today at this restaurant, Carter's, and I didn't get a chance to eat there. I was there for a meeting. It was before hours, but bar was really nice. Guys there were really cool, and the food looked really good. So a cool new place for me to check out. I can't speak to the food because I haven't had it yet, but that'll change real soon. So I'll keep you posted. But yeah, it was a cool place. And Beacon's a really nice, like, walkable part of the community, as many of you probably know. I'm a little less familiar with it than I probably should be, other than the area right over the bridge where, by the park there where the beer festival is usually held. Anyway, so there's that. One thing I wanted to talk about that I think is really interesting is the NBA's LeBron succession plan. Like, the other guy who can kind of sort of carry the torch is almost as old as LeBron, and that's Steph Curry. There's no shortage of great elite talent in the NBA right now. But there is a real shortage of the lightning rod effect that LeBron James produces that even Curry doesn't produce. And these type of figures are organically made and hard to create. And it's my belief that it's going to be some time, whether LeBron retires this offseason, next year, the year after, whenever he does eventually retire. My belief is it's going to be a very long time before there is a nucleus of discussion like him for the NBA to build around. And whether you like him or hate him, whether you think he's wicked overrated, he can't be Jordan, he's nowhere near Jordan, he's not even as good as Kobe, or if you think he's the greatest player of all time or anything in between, the fact of the matter is there is almost 100% likelihood that if you talk about the NBA, if you engage in a conversation about the NBA, you will start, finish, or traverse some point during that conversation something to do with LeBron James. It won't be Giannis. It won't be Kobe. It won't be Magic. It won't be Luka. It won't even be Curry. LeBron James will be the turnstile through which your conversation ultimately passes if the topic is basketball. And that type of power, that type of drawing power, it's very hard to replace, and it's very unique. There's only been 5, 6, maybe tops who are like that in the history of the NBA. I mean, there's LeBron, there's Jordan, there's, I guess, I mean, it was a different era before my time, certainly, but maybe Wilt, maybe Bill Russell, Magic and Bird. That's it. I mean, and most of those guys, because of the Jordan cult, as I'll call it, the Jordan phenomenon, that's a better word, phenomenon, the Jordan phenomenon, that was created in the 90s, part organically, part intentionally, and has sort of metastasized and permeated and become endemic in later years, in the ensuing decades. A lot of that's very good for the NBA. Some of it has maybe retarded the progression of the sport to be less dependent on that ghost, if you will. But regardless of the fact, Jordan definitely had that effect. And his effect being he came along at a later era than all the other guys save LeBron that I mentioned on this list, he had the benefit of more modern technology, more complete distribution, certainly less than there is now, but a lot more than there was even, 5 years before the turn of the 90s decade. And the marketing engine that helped create the Jordan legend has permeated. And what it's done is it's sort of whitewashed or greatly turned down the volume on maybe the ever-present talking points and the amount that those other guys are in those talking points. He's certainly reduced the frequency with which their names are discussed. The only person that stands up to that is LeBron James. And it's my opinion that is exactly, it's a self-feeding cycle, because LeBron has managed to be in that conversation through his own league's marketing and push from the time he was in high school, and his great play for the last 2 decades. And now he managed to get in that conversation. And because he got too close for comfort for the Jordan contingent, the volume from that side defending their guy ramped up, and that volume between the two sides has drowned out everything else. Right now, when you talk NBA, you basically can't help but talk LeBron, Jordan, who's better. And it's probably not healthy. It's certainly not eloquent. It's certainly repetitive, but it is compulsory. You can't help yourself. And the one thing it does, and the one thing that is a classic case of what's good for the goose is good for the gander, is it creates conversation, clicks, searches, discussions, groups, tune in on television, rooting against, rooting for LeBron. It creates all that stuff for the NBA in spades. And when he is done, similar to how the PGA has struggled to move on from Tiger Woods, even though Tiger still technically plays, he hasn't been relevant in a very long time. LeBron James is still very relevant. He was just in the Western Conference Finals. But similar to the way the PGA Tour has not been able to move on from Tiger Woods, commercially move on, conversationally, where does the conversation start and stop? The PGA Tour has not been able to move on from Tiger Woods. I question whether or not the NBA will be able to move on from LeBron James whenever he does retire. Who will fill that void? What will fill that void? I think what will still happen, I can see a world very easily where Giannis or Luka or someone like that, with Victor Wembanyama a few years from now, maybe someone puts up a stretch, Jokic, of just great sustained basketball, winning basketball, and the conversation will still be dominated by who is better, LeBron or Jordan. And I think the NBA is heading to a situation where they're going to have to proactively manage the conversation as best they can around their brand and their league, because I think we could very easily find ourselves in the position 5 years from now where the overwhelming majority of conversation about the league is discussed around two guys who are not active players. One who hadn't been an active player in over 2 decades, closer to 3 by that point, and the other who is retired, that being LeBron and Jordan, of course. And that's not a healthy place for any sport to be, particularly a sport as overflowing with grade A talent as the NBA is right now. I mean, you talk about forget LeBron, forget the guys who have been in the league 15 or more years. So Curry, Durant, LeBron, Harden, forget these guys. Let's even forget Kawhi Leonard for a second. Just think about like the under 30 crowd. You got Jokic, you got Giannis, you got Luka, you're about to have Wembanyama, you have Jason Tatum, you have Jaylen Brown, you have Trae Young. There's so many guys that are so great in the NBA right now, and yet none of them holds the weight of conversation or come close to it the way LeBron James does, the way Michael Jordan did and does. And that's a problem for the NBA. Where is that next guy? What is their succession plan? I don't know. I don't have the answer. I'm asking the question. But I'll tell you this, it's not because there's a lack of talent. It's because there's something about certain individuals that just grabs our consciousness and won't let go, won't move on. And, Donald Trump, like him or not, is one of these people in the political realm. LeBron James, like him or not, is like that in the NBA. Tiger Woods, to an extent, is like that in golf. Golf a little less permeated than politics or the NBA and American culture, but still a major force. Jordan is certainly that way. At his time, Muhammad Ali was probably that. Certain guys grab our psyche, grab our attention, and we just can't turn away from them. And it's not always just because they're the best. Usually at some point in time, they were the best, but our infatuation and constant discussion with them usually long outpaces and outlasts their time being the dominant figure in whatever their profession or vocation is. And usually those organizations find it very hard to turn the page when you are coming off one of those guys. It's a double-edged sword. It's a blessing and a curse. Make no mistake about it. The RNC, the Republican apparatus in this country, is having a very hard time, even though they have a lot of talent right now, they're having a very hard time moving on from Trump because of this very factor. The NBA is going to have a very hard time moving on from LeBron James. It's never even really found a way to move on from Michael Jordan. It's become sort of a combination Jordan and LeBron. Who's better? Whose side are you on? And it's really kind of scary if you're the NBA. It's something to be concerned about and to wonder and question. I really believe so. But it's also fascinating. It's also very fascinating. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We got hour 2 around the corner. On tap in hour 2, we got a little Mets talk, the top 5, the question of the day, and the Celtics and Heat. Could we see some history? We'll discuss all of that next. Hour 2 is around the corner. It is the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave. Alrighty, welcome in hour 2 of the Gary Ayd Show here on the Cave, cavetalkradio.com, and the Cave Talk Radio app. Great to have you aboard. Hour 2 means Rich Anselmo is here to crash the party. And crash the party we are. Here's the party crasher. I got a question for you, Rich. I was just talking about this. What is the NBA's succession plan as far as what's going to dominate conversation? The way the LeBron Jordan thing dominates conversation now, where is that going to transfer to whenever LeBron does retire? Or this is what I fear is going to happen. We see this sort of in golf. We saw it for a long time in baseball. Baseball is finally coming out of it. The conversation might very well stay on LeBron and Jordan, even with both of them not being active players, which is a terrible thing because, especially given the talent in the league. But, there's certain guys, and you've lived to see a lot of them. There's really only a handful that somehow or another grab our collective consciousness and just won't let go. The PGA Tour still hasn't moved on from Tiger Woods. Now, he still technically plays, but he hasn't been a real factor in over a decade. But he's still by far the biggest talking point. I think the NBA is heading for this with LeBron, whether he retires this year or 2 years from now. I think it's going to be the same thing, despite all the talent they have.
And I don't understand it.
It's a weird. It's hard to understand, but it's a real thing. It's there. I don't get it either.
But I expect more from a league that is so good at promoting their stars.
That's the thing. I completely agree. Curry a little bit maybe can handle it, but he's not much younger than LeBron.
Right. He doesn't have much longer.
Right. Who
knows about Morant?
Well, that could be the talking point for the league, but it's not exactly the one they want. That's not what they envisioned.
Not exactly one they'd like.
Yeah, right.
It won't be Luka.
Probably not.
For the same usual reasons.
Giannis to me seems the most likely, particularly if he stays in Milwaukee. It will be a different storyline. But the guy that was loyal to the small market team, made it happen, didn't jump ship. They could almost, in a weird way, use LeBron's career arc as a way of lifting up Giannis by way of compare and contrast. Just kind of a backhanded way to promote someone, but it could work.
Right. But it does work because of the market size.
Right.
Nobody's going to make a big deal out of it if Embiid leaves Philly.
Right.
And the rumors are out there.
No, there's rumors.
But right now they're just that.
Right. I think there's two ways to try to engineer this if you're the league. One you can do, the other you have to hope the franchise does. The one that the league can do is they have to be very aggressive, and I think they are, with this G League Ignite and all of the player development on the amateur to pro level that they've invested in the last couple of years. Because as much as it shouldn't matter, the fact of the matter is I believe it does matter a lot that none of the best young stars are from America. I think there's an element of the population that matters to, and a sizable one. I don't think that's a negligible factor. And I think
it's not, but that's more germane to this country.
Well, right. But and the
other countries don't think like that.
No, but the NBA's largest chunk of their audience by far is America. And they have to, I think, be they have to be cognizant of the fact that there needs to be, I think, for the league, there needs to be an American star. That's why I think John Morant's so important, because he could be that guy. He's probably the best option to be that guy of the younger players, him or Jason Tatum. See, I think Tatum and Brown being together is great for the Celtics, but it might be bad for the league in terms of the possibility of one of them becoming the next guy. More so Tatum than Brown.
Yeah.
I think Tatum almost needs more drama around him, something other than just, consistent playoff appearances. I think a healthy scandal would help a little bit. I know this is like almost like Hollywood script writing, but the fact is, a big part of the reason all these guys pop, whether it's Jordan, LeBron, Ali, Chamberlain, they pop because there's controversies around them that people can't get enough of. With Wilt, it was, why can't he win? He's so big. With Muhammad Ali, it was the whole draft controversy and his just outspokenness. With LeBron, it's the team hopping and the political statements. With Jordan, it was the fact that he was like punching teammates and all this other stuff. Like there was something. Like Jason Tatum's like kind of vanilla ice cream right now.
Yeah.
And we need a little chocolate swirl in there somewhere, or some marshmallow fluff or something. Some crunchies.
Come for the sports talk. Get a recipe to make a fluffer nut. Okay.
That's right, man. That's what we do in this place. I agree with Dylan. Jamal Murray's a beast. He's awesome. I just want to know who's going to be the guy that no one can stop talking about. That person hasn't emerged yet, despite all the great talent that's out there. And we've named a lot of them.
All this talk about G League Ignite. Have they produced anyone yet that could take that mantle? They haven't come close.
Nowhere close. I mean, granted, they're only 2 or 3 years in, so they're in their infancy. But
right.
But yes, no, you're right. They haven't come close. I mean, really, this Wembayana kid from France is the next big thing. I mean, at least in terms of like, he's gonna get a lot of talking conversation about him the next year or so. And
yeah, but he's foreign.
Right. Well, you know what? He has one thing that he has that Giannis didn't have, that Embiid didn't have. He has that, like, the same thing LeBron had coming out of high school. He has that prodigy aura around him. That the ceiling, like that one stupid comment, as dumb as it was, it illustrates my point. If he just becomes Hakeem Olajuwon, it's going to be a disappointing career. That type of insanity expectation is part of the formula that makes LeBron the conversation piece he is. It's definitely part of the formula. And Wembayana has that.
He does.
So
he absolutely does. But again, just like you said, there's a probably not as sizable of a part of the audience of the NBA, because the NBA doesn't lean that way as much. It would hurt football far more if that were the case.
If what was the case?
If all the best players they had
were international. Yeah. Well,
it doesn't hurt the NBA as much because the audience is not as a good percentage of the audience is not as sensitive to that as, say, a good percentage of the NFL audience would be.
Right. Well, and I think part of that is, I agree with you 100%. I think part of that is just the nature of the reality of the sports. I mean, I know the NFL has been, trying to ram a square peg through a round hole with this Europe thing for years now. But the fact of the matter is, football more or less doesn't exist outside of America in any significant way. Whereas that's not the case with basketball.
Or basketball, hockey, and baseball are global sports.
Baseball is sort of like a pseudo global sport. It's huge in like 2 or 3 other places and basically non-existent in everywhere else. Like it's huge in Japan, South and Latin America, and the islands. And other than that, it's very spotty. Occasionally you'll get a Korean player like a Chan-Ho Park, but for the most part, it's like basketball and soccer and probably hockey throughout the European continent anyway, are probably the most international sports in terms of most consistently available, almost regardless of what country you go to.
Dylan, you are absolutely right. The Philippines basketball growth.
Yes.
has been astounding.
Kobe had a lot to do with that. He was the guy that sort of spurred that on in that specific area. Yep.
He did in China as
Yep.
well.
One of my favorite quotes is LeBron said one time, he said, "I thought I was famous till I went to China with Kobe." Apparently, Kobe was like the thing in China. I guess his jersey sold even more than like Yao's jersey in China, which is astounding to me. Who am I taking, Halliburton or Maxey over the next 5 years? That's a really good question.
I like Halliburton's game better. Overall game.
Yep. I tend to agree, although I will say Maxey has done himself a lot of justice by performing really big in a lot of high pressure playoff games, which now Halliburton hasn't had a chance to do yet.
He would be such an ideal sixth man.
Yeah, I agree. Well, yeah, Dylan's a little biased here. We know he's a Pacers guy, so we know. And you know what? I would say if we're talking like talent to talent, I do think Halliburton is a slightly better player. His size helps him a lot. But
Halliburton needs to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, that's the thing. Right now, there's a trust factor, a battle-hardened factor that Maxey has because of where he's had the chance to play that I have to see from Halliburton to fully answer that question. But my gut tells me Halliburton.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah. That's an interesting question. And this is the thing. There's so many great players. And I mean, you mentioned Jamal Murray. There's just so many Tatum. There's so many of them.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what's the conversation going to be? Like, how are we going to, and maybe the better question is what I want to know, what I would love to see happen. How do we steer the conversation back to the great variety and cornucopia of talent we have and away from these comparisons? How do we do that? Can the league do that? I don't even know if that can be done. But it would be great if it would, because there's so many great players to talk about.
It can. It's a detriment to do what they're doing now, but blame their media outlets.
Yeah, it's a race to tribalism is what it is. There's two tribes. There's the Jordan tribe, or we can call it the old tribe, and there's the LeBron tribe or the modernist tribe. And it's the detriment of everybody to have it balkanized like that, in my opinion. Good use of the word balkanization by yours truly. There's your vocabulary lesson today.
I like that. It's what I expect from a history major.
That's right.
Rumors have it Portland and Indiana are pursuing a DeAndre Ayton trade. Oh.
Well, I'll tell you this. Portland could use him. Despite his major shortcomings, Portland doesn't have a front line. Like, really none. I mean...
Yeah, they won't with him.
Well... I mean, Indiana
guards no one.
Yeah,
it's a black hole when he gets the ball. He doesn't do much that I like.
Yeah, Indiana, I don't.
And
see
he
why.
has too much talent to be that.
I'm curious to see if a change. It's not breaking news that him and Monty Williams did not see eye to eye on basically anything. I am going to be watching very closely whoever the new coach is in Phoenix next season. Does Ayton turn over a new leaf? We've seen this before where coach and player don't fit and they both are better in their next situation. That's possible. But you know, regarding Indiana, I don't really know why you would go that route. I mean, Miles Turner's every bit as good and probably better than Ayton, and they're not that much difference in age. I mean, Turner's probably about 3 years older than Ayton.
I don't think he wants Ayton anyway, if you look at some of Dylan's comments.
I wouldn't want Ayton.
Doc Rivers to the Suns. Okay, I had heard that.
Awesome. So now Chris Paul definitely won't get a ring.
He wasn't going to.
He wasn't going to anyway. That's very true. Yeah, it's
actually the Lakers have shown interest in Chris Paul, and I just want to know why. You have a lot of young athletes. Why?
No, I don't want Chris Paul. No. Nope. We're good. All right. Well, got a lot of other stuff to get to. You know, one thing I want to talk about is the Celtics and Heat series, and we're gonna do that next. We'll also get a little into the Mets, and we still got our question of the day. So we got a few things left to do. Back after this, the Gary Ayd Show here on the Cave.
Are you like me? You have health insurance, but you don't have dental insurance. Do you need to get to the dentist right away? Maybe you need an implant or some other major service. Well, I found a dental insurance plan that's just right for you. It's called Spirit Dental. Spirit Dental offers a $100 lifetime deductible, a huge network of dentists. And here's the best part. There's no waiting periods. Yeah, that means you can call right now and have real dental insurance for you and your family tomorrow and get that immediate coverage you want. Spirit Dental has plans for just a few dollars a day, up to $5,000 annual maximum, and coverage for implants. Whatever age you are, the dental insurance you need is a free phone call away. Now don't wait, and be sure to ask about Spirit's vision plan. Here's the number: 800-631-9229. 800-631-9229. That's 800-631-9229.
Hey friend, life happens and you need money. What do? You call the special toll-free number we're about to give you. We will send you a link to your phone with details on how you can loan up to $5,000. Couldn't you use $5,000 to pay for your rent, pay grocery bills, get your car repaired, or whatever you need? It's up to you. We don't care. We're just here to lend you the money. And we'll lend people money with good, bad, or no credit at all. Of course, some terms and conditions apply, and you'll see those on the link we're going to send you. So if you need up to $5,000 maybe as soon as the next business day, call this number right now. We will text you a free link with details.
Paid for by Money Mutual. Call 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. That's 800-586-7112.
So I gotta tell you, Rich, it's amazing how quickly the pressure of a series can shift. The Celtics are not beating the Heat 4 times in a row, but
No, and the way everyone is talking,
no, it's not gonna happen. But
I have never seen so much overreaction over winning one game.
No, it doesn't make any sense. But I will say this. This is the one thing I'll say. Game 5, of course, is in Miami.
No.
Oh no, it's in Boston, right? You're right. Yeah, they just won in Miami. Game 5's in Boston, right? If Boston wins this game, there'll be a lot of pressure on the Heat to win Game 6 because you won't want to go into a Game 7 on the road having just lost 3 in a row. So I think this game is very much the pressure is still on Boston. I mean, that's just obviously they're down 3-1. But if they win at home, if they take care of business at home, there's gonna be a lot of pressure on Miami to make sure they close things out in Game 6 at home. If Boston wins Game 5, I'll begin to think we might have a series. But we'll see if they can do that. They're not going to. I mean, it's never happened before in history, right? Like it's only happened in baseball the one time in 2004. It's probably happened in hockey a couple of times, right? The team being down 3-0 and coming back
once.
So as far as I know, it's happened 2 times in American sports history. Once in baseball and once in hockey. Oh, by the way, you know what I wanted to tell you? So remember yesterday when I had asked when the last time both conference finals ended in a sweep was? I was playing pool last night at the Elks Lodge, and they had a TV on. It was getting ready for the pregame, getting ready to tip off the game. And I happened to look up at the exact time they flashed a graphic that answered that question. You want to know when it was?
When?
Never. It's never happened. Not once.
I didn't think so.
I thought it was going to be maybe like one time. It didn't seem like it would be something that would have happened a lot. But yeah, it never happened and still hasn't, of course. So
the Celtics blew that.
I'm telling you, they blew their chance at history.
Because Vegas won their game yesterday. They shut out Dallas, actually, and on the road. And they're up 3-0. The other series could end tonight because Florida's up 3-0. 4 sweeps would have been a first, and it would have been fun.
And We would have needed to start a cleaning company with all those brooms.
Actually, I wanted the time off so I could catch up on baseball.
Speaking of baseball, let's talk about the Mets here for a second. So they've been on a pretty good tear, although yesterday, subbing in
A hiccup.
a hiccup. I was disappointed that they subbed in Vogelbach to pinch hit for Vietos there. Vogelbach's been terrible this year. He really hasn't been good. And, if this kid's going to be a big part of your future, let's let him hit in an important situation. Why not? Let's see what he can bring to the table.
I don't know if that made a big difference in the game. I mean, the Cubs were going to win anyway.
30 years old, 270 pounds before breakfast. Daniel Vogelbach.
Well before breakfast.
Well before breakfast. Might be before morning coffee.
I mean, the Cubs had the game. It didn't matter.
I mean,
I understand it.
I mean, if you're going to call the kid up, though, why not let him hit there?
Should be letting him hit in all situations.
Well, that's what I mean. You may as well just play him. I mean, Vogelbach, I like. He's fine. But he's not been good this year. I mean, that's the problem. He's just not playing well right now. And, I mean, over his last 5 games, he's had 1 hit in
right.
What do we got? 5, 8, 9 at bats in his last 5 games. I mean, he's got 4 strikeouts in that time. He has walked a few times, so he's reached base 5 times because he's walked 4 times. But
he does walk a lot.
Yeah, he does. That is true. He does have a decent on-base percentage for a guy who only hits 230. He does have a 377 on-base percentage because of those walks.
And he will hit. I don't think he's going to go through the entire season unless they're just using him as a pinch hitter. I don't think he'll hit that badly. He's got a DH a couple times a week. Just to keep him involved.
Keep him in the rotation, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this. After a bad start and a blistering start by Tampa, Yankees are kind of right where they usually are.
They're 5 games back.
They're just kind of hanging around. And there's 5 teams in Major League Baseball with 30 wins, and 3 of them are in that division.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. The Rangers have 31 wins.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Dodgers. And
in
then
the National League, now, yeah, the only team to do it's the Dodgers.
Arizona has 29, and so does Atlanta.
They could have done it today, but they blew a 5-3 lead in the 9th and lost 6-5 in 10.
Oof. Ouch.
Brought this kid Ruiz in. He looked ridiculously bad out of the bullpen in the 9th, and he gives up a 2-run homer to Trey Turner. And then the bases get walked. Bases get loaded with walks as well as the 1-man on. Start the 10th, and the Phillies walked it off.
Yeah, the Phillies, I'm surprised at how bad they've been to this point. So they're going to start turning it around. They're too good not to.
They are. Texas won again today.
That is amazing to me. I'll tell you this. I'm going to be very upset if the Rangers have more wins than the Mets this year. That's going to bother me.
It's early yet.
Oh, it's very early yet. But Texas is one of those organizations that really never seems to get out of its own way. So I'm happy, at least right now, for them that they're relevant for the first time in forever. They're one of those.
They actually brought in some players.
They did.
And it's never easy to do because for some reason, despite the tax situation and everything else, that is not a destination.
It's not. It never is in any sport, and I don't
It's not in
understand
the NBA either.
Nope. It's the only team that's sort of a destination there is the Cowboys. For all the fluff around him, the fact of the matter is, I know they haven't won a title in a long time, and they've had some playoff disappointments. But the fact of the matter is, every single year, basically without exception, Jerry Jones, as an executive, puts together a team that is playoff capable, exciting, with a lot of talent, and is relevant. And that counts for something. They're never irrelevant. They're never bad. They're really not. I mean, they might underachieve. Maybe they're supposed to be better than they are. That's part of the story too. But they're never bad.
Right.
Like ever. And there's something, I think, to that. And Texas is obsessed with football. We know this.
Yes.
But yeah, it's always surprised me that the Mavericks weren't more of a destination, or the Rangers weren't more of a destination. It's always surprised me.
Got great ownership with the Mavs.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Absolutely.
A guy who takes really good care of his players.
No question. No question.
But can't get anyone to sign there.
Doesn't make any sense.
I wouldn't bet on Kyrie staying.
Probably not. I don't know that he ever was going to. That was sort of like a shotgun move to begin with.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's take a break. We'll come back. We got the question of the day next. It's the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.
Coffee Lovers Middletown is now officially home to the home run of our favorite beverage, Days Coffee. Days patented blend contains approximately 85% less caffeine than other coffees, which makes it better for you, yet unlike decaf coffee, still gives you that great pickup and tastes amazing. Formulated by a retired cancer pathologist, Dr. Grant Lee, Days Coffee is fermented with a patented enzyme that until now required a complex and thus expensive sourcing and production process. With Dr. Lee's formulation, this enzyme's great health benefits can now be brought to your cup quicker, easier, and cheaper than ever before. Here's how you get a hold of this game-changing cup of joe. Go over to radioonlydeals.com and get a $4 gift certificate to Days Coffee for just $2. That's radioonlydeals.com to buy your single-use digital gift certificate for Days Coffee. Radioonlydeals.com. That's radioonlydeals.com. Enjoy the preferred coffee of the Gary Ayd Show. Enjoy Days Coffee.
Pickleball is poaching players from the professional tennis circuit. Back in 1 minute with your sports question of the day.
I've got a unique vacation idea for you that's right here in the United States. If you're ready for a vacation that's fun and downright affordable, listen up. It's driving distance for many of you. So no planes, no airline delays, no hassles. It's Branson, Missouri, the entertainment capital of the Midwest. Live music for everyone. Branson has 3 beautiful, enormous lakes, water attractions, live shows, great food, and tons of entertainment. It's a perfect vacation for you and your family, or if you're retired and you want to have a great time. And you can stay in Branson for as low as $99 a night. Please understand, this is not a timeshare offer. It's a real vacation for as little as $99 a night. We've got a free vacation guide we want to send you right now. All you have to do is call for complete details. Get your free Branson, Missouri guide right now by calling this number.
800-284-0523. 800-284-0523. 800-284-0523. That's 800-284-0523.
American tennis player Jack Sock, who was once ranked number 2 in the world in doubles, has entered the professional pickleball arena with a victory. The Olympic gold medalist won the mixed doubles title earlier this month at the Professional Pickleball Association's North Carolina Open. It's impressive, considering it was the first event in his professional pickleball career. And those who play know that a transition from tennis to pickleball is not easy. Question for those who pickleball: do you find the sport has more in common with tennis or ping pong?
You're a better one to answer this, Rich, than me. What do you think?
I think it's a combination of both. There are some similarities in each. The racket size is in between what a ping pong and a tennis racket is. Technically, the court's not laid out like a tennis court, but it's not a ping pong table either. I think it has some of the qualities of both. And I also think it's an in between. I don't think it leans more one way than the other. I think if you're a professional athlete at that level in tennis, you wouldn't have trouble adapting to pickleball.
That makes sense. One thing that this isn't really the question, but it kind of spawned a thought that spawned from the question. Given the meteoric rise in popularity and particularly Main Street participation in pickleball over the last several years, and given the fact that, as we were kind of talking about yesterday, it sort of lacks a face, it sort of lacks a known destination for broadcast consumption, and tennis lacks any type of upward popularity or mobility, has none of pickleball's momentum, and the sports are similar enough. Why not partner with pickleball if you're the tennis organizations, and maybe televise some of their matches between your matches at the majors?
Wouldn't be a bad idea. And if you get a few players to jump over, that might be that star that you were talking about yesterday that league needs.
I think so. And I would imagine that you can be an elite pickleballer later in life than you can be an elite tennis player.
Yes.
So someone like Roger Federer, who's basically retired as a tennis player, could probably be, without much effort, one of the world's great pickleball players tomorrow if he wanted to be. Or even if he wasn't truly one of the greats, as long as he was good and competitive, his star power and name alone would do wonders for that sport.
Yes. And probably more well known than Rick Barry.
Yes, but very much
right
so.
now is the name in pickleball.
Right.
And a lot of that is because he was an early adopter.
Right.
And he still plays competitively despite his age.
Right. I think you also need someone a little less cantankerous to be the face. A little less grouchy.
I like Rick. I really do.
I don't dislike him either.
Cantankerous fits him.
It's the word, man. It's the description.
It is. And I like him a lot. We talk occasionally, and
he's Greg Popovich's long lost brother.
Oh yeah, he's the one that got me into the sport, though.
Yeah, that's cool. I think
my next step is not to rent. I want my own racket.
There you go. Where do you play?
There's a few. We have a few centers here where court time's readily available. If you don't mind waiting a bit, sign up.
You know what sport I used to play a lot of as a kid, as a teenager, was racquetball. That is an intense game.
It is very.
You got to kind of really trust the person you're playing with, because it wouldn't be much to get whacked in the back of the head or in the face with one of those rackets.
Mm-hmm. I haven't done it in years.
Yeah, it's been a long time for me too. Now that's an interesting one. But yeah, I think the crux of the question, it really is like sort of a blend of the two. But I think it could benefit more from piggybacking off of tennis, from the two of them kind of piggybacking off each other, because it's not a one-way relationship. Pickleball has public momentum on its side right now that's hard to just recreate. But tennis is a long established known sport that,
Yes.
pickleball could get some much needed broadcast coverage and some corporate legitimacy from. And I think
True.
that would help that sport a lot.
I mean, you're near New York. Look at how the city is for the U.S. Open.
Yeah, it's always crazy. I mean, Marv Albert used to do that match.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I saw Marv Albert calling tennis. I'm like, wait, what? Marv Albert? What?
To me, when they talk about Wimbledon and some of the other matches, to me, the one I sit captivated through every year is the New York Open. I just think Wimbledon has the tradition, but I think the Open gets the best of everyone.
Yeah, I was always infatuated with the French Open because I love the color of the clay. It's just so different.
It is.
You know, speaking of different, you know what? I was at a Renegades game last Friday, and
Oh yeah, the day after the Goose incident.
yes, the day after the Goose incident. And you know what I noticed?
Oh, I never heard the story on that.
Yeah, so basically a goose came on the field, and one of the base coaches actually had the gall to go out there and like pick the thing up and try to like move it. And it's like, you're either like super naive or like the bravest person on the planet, because geese are not nice. They'll just bite you and kick you just for the hell of it, let alone if you try to touch them.
Oh yeah.
They'll just like, I don't like the look of that guy. I'm gonna go bite him just because. They're mean animals. They're nasty and they're grouchy. They really are.
They are.
And they're kind of
like
scary looking too.
They're like the Greg Popovich of animals.
They're the Greg Popovich of birds. They are. They're just grouchy. And they almost do it in like a what are you gonna do about it punk type of like way. They'll like walk across the street, but they won't like run like other animals. They'll like what? It's like, come on, man. It's like, this is why I told my family we should get more people over for Thanksgiving. So instead of doing duck, we can do goose. Because if we can get one more goose off the street, it's good for the world. One less person to get bit by a wild animal. Those birds are mean. But yeah, that was the story.
Well, we have an issue with them here because they're all over the park system.
Mm-hmm.
And you ever try to hike those parks with those little cigar-looking things all over the place?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, these things shit like sharks.
Oh, they usually just walk around taking dumps every place. They really do. It's disgusting.
It's unbelievable.
The only bird I've ever seen poop like that is seagulls crap all the time too. They never stop crapping.
That's because everybody feeds them.
Yeah, the goose just comes and takes the food it wants. It doesn't ask your permission.
It doesn't wait to be fed.
But no, so I was at this Renegades game last Friday, and I have never observed this in all my times going there, but I noticed it Friday. Apparently, they have a turf field and a turf infield, but the area around the batter's box is real dirt.
Really?
Which was interesting. I noticed it this time because I was I think it's because of the angle of where my seats were. Normally I sit right behind home plate, give or take, off center a little bit. But this time I was down the first base line about 10 rows up, about halfway down the line, probably closer to a third down the line, closer to the infield than the outfield. And I just happened to notice it. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. They have a turf field, turf infield, but a natural like dirt around home plate.
Wow.
Which is interesting.
Very.
Alrighty. Well,
Detroit's one of the few MLB parks that has that walk up from the pitcher's mound to home plate too.
Oh, that dirt walk up. I love that.
Yeah,
I think
and
that's
all the old parks used to have it.
Yes, that's an old school thing. Remember the vet, as awful as it was like all green except like the little patches around the bases, and then the mound behind the plate, and that walk up and then like the rest of it was just all green, including the infield. Remember that?
Yeah.
What an ugly park that was. What an ugly park.
Before we break, years ago, not too many, but I had stopped at a business in Rochester.
Okay.
I had some business to tend to there, and in the lobby are these pamphlets,
Mm-hmm.
living in harmony with the Canada geese. And I'm like, no,
I don't want to live in harmony with these things.
there's no living in harmony with them.
Bunch of grouches. No, you can't live in harmony with those guys.
And it were ways to like go from place to place in these business parks and not affect the geese.
You know what? Canada, make some more Canadian goose down jackets. Limit your population that way. That's how we live in harmony with them. Make there be less.
Funny thing is, they're called Canada geese, but you don't find them in Canada.
Well, I guess that's like when you see New York style pizza in Florida, but you'll never find that type of pizza in New York.
Right. Now, what Toronto is loaded with are seagulls.
Ah,
Ask Randy Johnson.
yes. That was legendary. I remember going to school. That was like my sophomore year of high school. I remember going to school on the bus that morning, and we're just in the back. Everyone's talking about it. Like, do you see this? He just blew up a bird. Like,
That thing exploded too.
So epic. It's crazy to think that I would say the best pitcher. I would even dare say he's the best pitcher of all time, and he's certainly one of them. And to think that his most memorable moment is something like that is just really funny.
He is one of the 3 best I've ever seen in my lifetime.
What a beast. You talk about someone that would be scary to go against. No thanks. Nope. Left-handed hitter. No. I'm out.
I used to, when I was younger, go up to Blue Jays games.
Mhm.
And when they played the Yankees, you'd sit up in your regular seat. Yankees would build a big lead. Blue Jays were feisty. They fought back, got it to a few runs. In the 9th inning, we'd go down because the seats were empty by then to sit right behind home plate when Goose Gossage would come into the game. The pop I heard in that catcher's glove was louder than any baseball pop I've ever heard in my life.
I've heard that from a few people regarding Gossage.
Oh, man. I never heard another pitcher hit a glove like that.
He also had the look about him too, those handlebar mustaches, that round, stern face.
Yes.
Everything about him screamed, "Don't screw with me." That's part of Randy's appeal too.
Get your homework in on time.
Yes,
too.
that's right. Yeah.
He'll be one angry teacher.
Oh, man. All right, let's take our last break. We'll come back. We'll wrap it up with some news you can use. It's the Gary Ayd Show here in the cave.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't, and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you are ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with a free call. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. That's 800-741-9557. If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. That's 800-826-5884.
Alrighty, let's do some news you can use. What do we got today, Rich?
Is it possible the Celtics fire Joe Mazzulla if they're eliminated in this round?
I gotta tell you something. Whether or not they are, I would. And it's nothing really to do with the results of the playoffs and everything to do with the fact that Brown and Tatum just don't look like a tandem the way they had under Udoka. And in order for you to get over the hump and win a title, which is the ultimate goal of this team, you need that to happen. And he doesn't appear capable of making that happen. So for no other reason, yes, I would. I would.
Brad Stevens is giving him unwavering support, as he says.
Mm-hmm.
But you know that support can always go away.
Yeah, I mean, if you ask me, do I think they will? No, I don't. I think there are political reasons within the organization. They want him to succeed because they made that move in such a hasty sort of like righteous style. They want to be proven right. So he's going to get every opportunity to prove them right. So I would say there's very little chance they do, but I wouldn't even think about it. I definitely would, because I've seen what I need to see. He does not get them to play together the way Udoka got them to play together. Someone else, that can't just be Ime Udoka figured it out. There's got to be someone else who can do that, but it's not Joe Mazzulla. And I would get rid of him for that reason alone. But I don't think they will.
I'm not sure if they will either, but I would think it would be smart move to make.
It's what I would do, without a doubt.
Okay. After the Lakers were eliminated, all the questions surfaced about LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
What about D'Angelo Russell?
He's always been a enigma and a perplexing player to me, Rich. His ability and talent is clearly there. His productivity a lot of times is there. But then there's these times when it's not, and there's still an element of immaturity about him and sort of a pouty, sulking nature where if he's not playing well or he's not playing the role he thinks he should be playing, he doesn't give the effort you need him to give. And that, to me, for a team contending for a title is unacceptable. So I would move him.
I mean, Denver exploited him.
Yes, they did.
On both sides of the ball. And
Yes,
it was
they
so
did.
bad at one point, Nuggets players and coaches were sitting on the bench just laughing.
Yeah, no, it was bad. But then the flip side is, I don't know that they beat Memphis without him. He was probably their second best player in that series for large chunks of it. And that's the maddening part about D'Angelo Russell, is you do get both sides of that coin. It's not one-sided.
LeBron is not a fan,
I can see why.
which I think makes a difference.
Yep.
He wants consistency.
Right. Well, of course you do. For all
They also gave up that 2027 first round pick
Mhm.
to get him, and that was like pulling teeth for some of the people in that building.
Yeah.
Which is why I think they may not let him walk away that easily.
For the same reason that I don't think the Celtics will get rid of Mazzulla, I agree. It's the same type of motivation, and I agree with that. I think that's a very good point by you. I'm 100% in agreement. But like Mazzulla, I would move him, but I don't have anything staked in his succeeding, whereas the guy that made that move does. So yeah. Office politics at its finest right there.
Yes, and we love it.
What else we got?
In a video recently posted on his Instagram page, former Jets running back Ty Johnson revealed that not long after the Jets requested he undergo surgery to repair a torn pectoral muscle suffered during an off-season workout. The team released him with a non-injury designation less than a month after re-signing him to a one-year deal.
Wonderful. Good. Way to take care of your people.
Want to do it. Team told him he had to get the surgery.
I mean, didn't the Sabres
and then they cut him? I mean, and you got the same thing going on with Mekhi Becton.
Didn't the Sabres do something like this with Eichel, like the reverse of it? Like he wanted to get the surgery and they said no, so they moved him?
Right.
Yeah.
And Vegas said yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Get the surgery you want.
Yep.
And they're in the conference finals with a 3-0 lead. So
that's it.
Who was right?
I guess that worked out pretty good for Vegas. The gamble paid off for Vegas, doesn't it always?
Yes.
That's how it works for Vegas.
Yes,
the
it
gamble
does.
pays off.
So, I mean, and Becton is blaming the Jets coaches for the injury that cost him last season. He said, I was told I shouldn't be complaining. Go out there and do your practice on your bad knee. He said no one cared. You could sign the Aaron Rodgers deal all you want, but let me tell you something. Do better if you want to keep players.
Yep.
Speaking of Aaron Rodgers, he wants everyone to relax.
Yes.
He tweaked his calf. It's not serious. I was taking Memorial Day off anyway. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Well, I'm not. It is what we're May, end of May.
Yeah.
Like, when does the season start? End of September. I'm not too stressed.
He's not playing in the preseason.
Right. It doesn't matter. I actually agree with Aaron Rodgers here. Relax. No big deal.
TNT doing the game last night, as they have that series. Shaquille O'Neal got served with lawsuit papers at the game.
Wonderful.
He's been ducking them for a while. That FTX lawsuit.
Oh, yes.
And for over 2 months, man, O'Neal was just slipping them. He was evading them at every turn.
That doesn't say much for their servers. If you can't find Shaq, you're pretty blind.
Shaq doesn't want to be found. Shaq won't be found. So they caught up with him, and now he has 20 days to respond to both legal complaints. What else do we have? Police conduct a welfare check on John Morant after some cryptic posts.
That was scary.
This kid some help.
Yeah, that was crazy stuff. I saw that. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with him, but you know, the problem with any kind of help is you have to want it and be receptive to it.
Yes.
And you know, I'm sure the Grizzlies, if not the NBA, and probably both, and I'm sure family members have, I'm sure, tried to help. My guess is that, you know, as with a lot of people, whether they're rich and famous or just regular people, you have to want it. You have to be willing to accept it. You have to be open to it. And if he's not, then, you know, unfortunately, there's not a lot you can do. And I have no more reason to believe that he's not receiving the help that he needs than I do to believe that he's being offered it and he's refusing it. I have the same amount of reason to believe either one of them. I don't know either one to be true or false.
I don't either.
You know, so.
But those with his mother and his father and his daughter telling them he loved them. The last one was just a picture of him and it said bye.
Yeah, no, that's a scary post. I mean, that's a suicide note.
They were worried.
Yeah, of course. I mean, they have every reason to be. Yeah, he was fine as of now, which is good, but he's clearly not okay.
Out of all the LeBron James retirement talk, Monica McNutt, I think, nailed it pretty well. She's not buying his retirement stuff. She said she thinks it was more of an emotional reflection. And direct quote, I also find it hard to believe that LeBron would walk away without a retirement tour. I agree.
Yeah, I agree, and I think he's earned that over the
Yeah.
years.
Wade got one.
Yep.
We have time for one more.
Let's do it.
Andy Reid does not like the new kickoff rule.
Uh-oh.
That 1-year rule they're putting in.
Which was what? I don't remember.
League passed a proposal, it was yesterday, that fair catches made anywhere between the goal line and the 25-yard line, starting at the 20, puts the ball at the 25. So if you get a kickoff and you catch it at the 5 and your team says make a fair catch, you get the ball at the 25.
Let's just nix the kickoff and just put it at the 25 at this point. If we're gonna do all this
the
now.
reason they're saying is player safety, but nobody's buying it. No one's buying it at all.
Well, what could the reason be if not that, though? Why wouldn't it be player safety? What else could it be? What else could the motivation be? What else could the league get from that? It doesn't accomplish anything, really.
No, it doesn't. And just like you said, eliminate the kickoff. Most kickers can put it out of the end zone anyway.
Right.
And just start at the 25. Brian Mitchell was a great returner, said it was a joke, as did Pat McAfee.
Well, you see,
Mitchell said there's a person every week going down on all sides of the ball, but it's all people hear about are the infrequent times it happens on special teams. He said it's a bunch of crap.
Yeah. Well, I don't disagree with them, but you have to also, consider the source. I mean, Mitchell is going to be biased, toward kickoff return guys because he made his whole living that way. That was like pretty much why he had a career. I mean, I would say the same thing about like Dante Hall or Devin Hester or someone like that.
Yeah.
But I also agree with him. I don't think he's wrong, but it would be easy to look at him and say, oh yeah, sure. Well, of course you think that.
We got time for one more quick one.
All right. What do we got?
The U.S. Patent and Trademark Office denied the application for the NFL's Washington Commanders.
Oh, jeez.
They cited two reasons. One, pending applications filed by a D.C. area man. And two, an existing trademark for Commanders Classic. Whatever that is. So the commies may be in for another name change.
I heard the name Redskins is available.
It is.
It's got some history. And they probably own the trademark, I would think.
A fan favorite, believe it or not, is Red Wolves.
Red Wolves.
But Jason Wright, the team president, said existing trademarks make that unfeasible. I don't know who else has Red Wolves, but they had a bunch of names. Defenders, Brigade, Armada, Presidents, Red Hogs.
Red Hogs?
Now, DC's XFL team goes by the Defenders, so Washington can't use that. They feel they can work things out with the trademark for the Commander's name.
Great. All right. Well, there we go. We'll see if that happens. We'll see you tomorrow. That does it for us today. We'll see you tomorrow. It's the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.